अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते सप्तकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। कावेरी विरजासेयं वैकुंठं रंगमंदिरं स वासुदेवो रंगेशः प्रत्यक्षं परमं पदम् विमानं प्रणवाकारं वेदशृंगं महाद्भुतं श्रीरंगशायी भगवान् प्रणवार्थ प्रकाशकः। हरे कृष्ण। So welcome all the devotees for this particular session on the series of online Tirtha Yatra. In this session, we'll be discussing about one of the most holiest of Tirthas called Srirangam, Rangakshetram, Srirangam Dham. So the Dham is Krishna's expansion of his own spiritual world. It is said that just like the countries have their embassy in another place, just like the American embassy is in India in a small land, an Indian embassy could be in USA in a small land. So that particular embassy has all the rules and regulation, law and order pertaining to the country that it belongs. So the US embassy could be in India, but that particular piece of land has US law and US code of conduct are applicable there, even though that embassy is in India. Similarly, Indian embassy in USA. So this material world is like a alien place, a different place, a different country. Here, Krishna's Dham, Vaikuntha, is descended in a particular location in the material world. So this place, as an embassy of the spiritual world, you may say, it has all the futures of the spiritual world itself. So that's why the scripture says that the dhams are not different from the Lord's original abode. Just like the embassy is actually the country what it belongs. So in this way, a beautiful shloka describes about the Srirangam Dham. Kaveri virajaseyam vaikuntam rangamandiram sa vasudevo rangeshaha pratyaksham paramam padam. The spiritual world of Vaikuntha is lying beyond the Viraja river. The Viraja river is flowing around the Vaikuntha Dham. And the same Viraja river is descended in the material world, in the Bhuloka, in Bharatavarsha, as the river Kaveri. Vaikuntam Rangamandiram. And where is the Vaikuntha is there? It is on the banks of Kaveri, called Srirangam. If Srirangam Dham is here, Braja Nadi which is flowing in Srirangam is here, then what about the Lord? The Lord is in Vaikuntha, how he is here? Definitely. The Lord of Vaikuntha is present here as Vasudevo Rangeshaha. The Vasudeva present in the spiritual planet called Vaikuntha is present here as Rangeshaha, Ranganatha. Pratyaksham Paramam Padam. This particular place doesn't come under the jurisdiction of the material laws and order. It is Pratyaksham Paramam Padam. It is directly spiritual world manifested in front of us. This is a beautiful shloka. Thus it proclaims that Srirangam is not, or any spiritual dham doesn't come under the material world jurisdiction. That's the reason it is Lord's mercy that it is that we can, as a conditioned living entities, we don't have access to the spiritual world. How can we get to the spiritual world? The spiritual world is descending. Lord is descending. With the Lord, spiritual world is descending. The spiritual associates are descending. The Lord's glorification of his guna, qualities, name, pastime, they're also descending in the form of a Shastra, Bhagavatam, and so on. In this way, that is a mercy of the Lord. The Lord is descending as the Dham. So that we'll get the glimpse, we'll get the experience of being in the spiritual world of Vaikuntha. And in the Srirangam Dham, Ranga Vimana is present. We'll be discussing soon what is Ranga Vimana. We said in the same shloka, Vimanam Pranavakaram Vedashrangam Mahadbhutam. That Ranga Vimana is, this is a Ranga Vimana, the canopy of Srirangam Dham. This Vimana is Pranavakaram, Vimanam Pranavakaram. Pranava means the letter Om. The Srirangam Vimana is in the shape of the letter Om. Vimanam Pranavakaram, Vedashrangam. There's 4 kalashas present on top of Srirangam, representing the 4 Vedas. Vedashrangam Mahadbhutam. It is amazingly wonderful, this Vimana. Srirangashai Bhagavane. So if this is called the letter Om, and what is the meaning of the Om? Every letter, every word has meaning, correct? What is the meaning of Om? The meaning of Om is none other than Lord Ranganath himself. Vimanam Pranavakaram, Vedashrangam Mahadbhutam, Srirangashai Bhagavane, Pranavartha Prakashakaha. He is actually the meaning of the letter Om, and he is actually revealing us what is the meaning of the Pranava mantra called Om, just being there under this Vimana. So, as we discussing about Srirangam Dham, there are various aspects of the Dham, Srirangam Dham. The name, pastimes, the greatness of the Dham is not a matter of speculation with our human mind. This is all revealed in the Shastras. Especially the Puranas speaks about the glories of the Dham and their descent. So similarly, Srirangam Dham is described in various Puranas, such as Brahmanda Purana, Garuda Purana, and other Puranas. So some of these narrations have Dashadhyayi, 10 chapters. Some of have Shatadhyayi, 7 chapters. So we'll try to discuss in summary the description given in the Puranas, such as Brahmanda Purana and other Puranas. It is very much interesting that this Dham Mahatmya is revealed by Lord Shiva to Narada Muni. So once Lord Shiva in Mount Kailash was accompanied by so many rishis, something like 41,000 rishis and 11,000 siddhas. In such a great assembly, they are discussing about the Lord's glories. All the demigods in number 33 crore and 41,000 rishis and 11,000 siddhas, they were all assembling there. And everybody is hearing attentively the description of Lord Shiva given on the topic of Supreme Lord Sri Vishnu. At that time, Narada Muni appeared and he paid his obeisances to Lord Shiva. There, Narada Muni spoke, "My dear Lord, we are all hearing glories of so many holy places. Can you please narrate the glories of the great Srirangam Dham to us? We would like to hear the glories of Srirangam Dham from your lotus mouth." That time Lord Shiva spoke, "My dear Narada, we are so happy that you spoke such a beautiful words and you asked such a nice question. Your question is small, but the answer is very great in detail. My dear Narada, even if I take thousands of years to complete, I won't be able to complete the glories of the holy Dham Srirangam. But nevertheless, since you asked, I would like to tell the summary of Srirangam Dham to you. And what Lord Shiva spoke, that summary itself is so big. And in that summary, we are going to discuss the summary of that summary. So the glories of Srirangam Dham, Narada Muni, Lord Shiva spoke to Narada Muni, "O Narada, this holy place is so powerful. It's on the banks of river Kaveri. And the banks of river Kaveri, there is a pukur or kund called Chandra Pushkarni. On the bank of the Chandra Pushkarni, which is lying on the banks of Kaveri river, Lord Ranganath is residing. And that place is called Srirangam Dham. Mother Kaveri, who is flowing from west to east, she comes just before Srirangam and she diverts herself into two branches and she circumambulates the Srirangam Dham, and then she again joins together and flows towards the Bay of Bengal in the eastern direction. So in that sense, Srirangam Dham is an island in between the Kaveri river. Mother Kaveri is coming like a garland and she is surrounding the Srirangam Dham, where in between, in the middle, Sriranganath Swami is present. So Lord Shiva said that the Lord who is present on the banks of Chandra Pushkarni, in the land between two Kaveris, is so great. Anyone who visits this place is sure that they're never going to see any hellish planets and never going to suffer the pangs, the pain of death. And it is said that anyone who has not visited the holy Dham Srirangam is very difficult for them to lead a pious life. And they won't be able to understand how to respect the elderly people. If a person chants the holy name of Lord Ranga, in whatever condition he is in, either while sneezing, or while yawning, or while coughing, or walking, or speaking the word Ranga, he will be protected from all dangers. He will be freed from all sinful reactions. Such are the holy benefits of Srirangam Dham. When he chants twice the name of Lord Ranga, he will be freed from all sinful reactions. All the depths of his sin that he has been doing all his life will be vanquished. Even if a person cannot able to reach Srirangam Dham, but even staying thousands of miles away from this place, even if he thinks of this holy place, just thinking of this holy place, he'll be protected from all kind of dangers. He'll be freed from all sinful reactions. When he chants the name of Ranganath, all his ancestors are delivered. In fact, the ancestors in the Pitri Loka were thinking that we are just hoping if some of our descendant, once if he goes to river Kaveri and take darshan of Lord Ranganath, we will be delivered. So all the Pitris are praying like that. In this way, the Pitris are waiting for a long time when my descendant will go to Srirangam Dham. In the amount of Yamaraj, indeed, Yamaraj was thinking that as long as Srirangam Dham is there, it is very difficult for people to come to Yamaloka. Just by thinking Srirangam Dham, they are free from all sinful activities. It's like snow melts when as soon as it sees the sun. Similarly, all the sinful activities of the people are destroyed just by seeing the Srirangam Dham. So in this way, Lord Shiva was glorifying with his all his mouth the glories of Srirangam. Sinful people and person were totally uh, lost all their hope in their life. If they chant Ranga's name, they're all freed from all their difficulties. The previous ancestors, they even thought that if a person is not able to Srirangam Dham, but even if they just think of Srirangam Dham, then they feel that they will be delivered from their sinful activities. So in this way, Lord Shiva spoke the greatness of Srirangam Dham. At that time, Lord Narada Muni asked Shiva that, my dear Lord, please narrate how Lord Ranganath and Ranga Vimanam appeared in this material world. And Lord Shiva, with so much of enthusiasm, continued. He said, my dear Shiva, my dear Narada, please hear about the narration of Srirangam Dham. Anyone who hears the glories of Srirangam Dham will be freed from all the bad effects of killing the cow, killing a child, killing a Brahmana. All these sins will be destroyed just by caring about the Srirangam Dham or staying in Srirangam Dham. Nardamani said, once upon a time, Lord Vishnu was lying on the Ashwatha leaf in the Pralaya water. At that time, after long time yoga nidra, the Lord just opened his eyes and saw all around him were no creations, no living entities were there. And Lord Vishnu realized that all the living entities and all the ingredients of creation are there in his lotus stomach. So then Lord Vishnu thought that let me create from my stomach, let me release all the living entities and let me create the material world once again. So thinking like this, the Lord is called Satya Sankalpa. When we have to think something, before that we need to have jnana, knowledge of something. Can you think of anything if you don't know something about it? You never heard what is an apple. Can you think of the apple? No. First one has to have jnana. Then only one can think of anything. So, and only if you have jnana, you may think about it, but you won't be able to achieve it. You have to have the understanding of a particular object. And not only that sufficient, you have to desire for that. You may have the knowledge of, something which you don't like. Something like, a bitter god. But you won't be able to achieve that because you don't have desire for that. So jnana, ichcha, kriti. First you have to have a knowledge, then you have to have a desire to achieve that. So desire is also not sufficient. You may desire, I have a desire to get all the golden ornaments available in the jewelry shop. Is that sufficient? You have the knowledge of the jewelry present in the shop and your desire to acquire all the jewelry in the shop. Will that be sufficient? No, you have to endeavor. You have to go and earn a lot of money, walk to the shop, pay the money, and you may get it, isn't it? Or some people may steal it. Still, there is endeavor is necessary. So, jnana, ichcha, kruti. These things are necessary for all of us. But the Supreme Lord Krishna, Supreme Lord Vishnu, he doesn't have to do any endeavor to fulfill his desire. He is called Satya Sankalpa or Satya Kama. Just by the mere desire of his mere thinking, everything comes in his hand. Everything is possible just by his thinking, and the result are the same. Our thinking is different. Our desire and our activities and our achieving things are all different. One has to work hard for that. But Supreme Lord thinking, Satya Sankalpa itself is activity, doesn't have to endeavor. So just by the Lord's thinking, there appeared from his nabhi, from his lotus navel, yes, beautiful golden lotus flower. From the lotus nabhi appeared a beautiful big lotus flower. And in that flower, the first living entity, Brahmaji, appeared. The creator, the entire universe, Brahmaji appeared. And when Brahmaji appeared, he saw the beautiful golden, he's sitting in a golden lotus. And all around him is so full of darkness. Everything was dark. And he was very much fearful. Who am I? He doesn't even know where he appeared from. Who is he and what is happening around? So looked all around, it was great darkness. So then, at that time, Lord appeared in the form of a beautiful Hamsa, swan. And when we saw the beautiful swan, Hamsa bird, and Brahmaji was enticed, he was charmed with seeing the beautiful swan. So he asked the swan, my dear swan, he didn't even say, he doesn't even know what is swan because it just appeared. So he said, who are you? He asked, who are you? Custom, he asked. And the swan again replied back. The swan asked again Brahma, custom, who are you? Like, so both asked the same question. Only difference is that the Lord knows who is he, but still asking. Brahmaji doesn't know who is he, that's why he's asking. So when he asked Kastvam, the Hamsa asked Brahma, Kastvam, the word Ka, the first word Ka, that became the name of Brahma. So Ka means Brahma, Virinchi. In this way, Brahmaji got the word, the name Ka means Brahma, Virinchi. So at that time, Brahmaji said, my dear Lord, I don't know who am I. And I would like to know who are you and what I'm supposed to do. At that time, Hamsa replied, he said, Aham Hari, I am Hari. So when he heard I am Hari, Brahmaji understood that he is Supreme Lord Hari. And then when Brahmaji asked what he should do, the Hamsa, Lord Hari, did not say anything. He just said, chant the letter Om. So then Brahmaji combined both word Hari and Om. And by the mercy of the Lord, he got revelation that he should chant Hari Om. So in this way, he started chanting Harihi Om, Harihi Om, Harihi Om for a long time. He did tapasya and chanted just Lord Hari's name. And by chanting of this Pranava Om and Lord's name Hari, he empowered the knowledge of creation, and he became empowered by the mercy of the Lord to understand many things. At that time, Lord Brahmaji started creating the material world. So by meditating on the word Hari, Om, he created the planets, he created living entities, and he created, from the mouth of Lord Brahma appeared Yajurveda, Rigveda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda, and all these Vedic literatures came, and he created human beings, Gandharvas, Charanas, Siddhas. And when he created all these living entities sitting on the lotus flower, suddenly it so happened that Madhu and Kaitabh, they appeared and they stole the Vedas from Lord Brahma. Those time Vedas are not written, it's like in a sound format, but somehow or other, this Madhu Kaitabh, they came and stole the Vedic knowledge from Brahmaji. So Brahmaji felt that he lost his eyes. He doesn't know what he's supposed to do, and he lost everything. So that time, Brahmaji was thinking that what I lost all my knowledge, which I got through my tapasya. Brahmaji was thinking that with my tapasya and chanting Hari, oh my God, all these mantras and Vedic knowledge, they are all lost. The demon Madhu Kaitabh, they came and they stole all the Vedic literature. So Brahmaji was very much frightened. And he was looking all around, he saw only darkness, and he saw that the lotus flower on which he is sitting, there was a lotus stem is going down, and there he saw that all around the lotus stem is a huge ocean of water. Garbha ocean was there all around. So Brahmaji was so much perplexed and he lost everything. So what he did, in order to understand from where he was born, he started climbing down from the lotus flower. Through the stem, he started climbing down. And he was climbing practically for 1,000 years, so 1,000 celestial years. Still, he could not reach the bottom of the lotus stem. In the meantime, Brahmaji got tired, and the thorns in the lotus stem were giving a lot of pain. His body was getting scratched by the thorn and pierced by the thorn, and he was suffering a lot. And then he looked up. The lotus flower was from where he came down. It was so far away. And when he looked down, the source he could not find. Only he's finding water, and he's not getting to the source of the lotus stem. The water is so far, and he doesn't know where the stem will end. So perplexed like this, he could neither climb up or climb down. He was caught in the middle, and being tortured by the thorns in the lotus stem, he just chanted, "Oh my dear Father, oh my dear Lord!" He just jumped down from the lotus stem, and there he just fell down into the great ocean of Garbha. And when he fell in that ocean, he was practically just getting tossed by the waves of the mighty Garbha ocean. At that time, his shelter was only the Lord, the Hamsa whom he saw, and he was just praying to the Lord to save him. At that time, an amazing thing happened for Lord Brahma. As he was suffering in the great ocean, there appeared a beautiful fish, golden fish, and that is none other than Lord Meena. Meena avatar, Matsya avatar appeared near Lord Brahma and consoled him. "Oh my dear Brahma, do not worry. I am there to protect you. I will help you to get all your problems solved." Saying like this, he consoled Lord Brahma, and immediately he disappeared. As soon as Lord Meena, Matsya avatar, disappeared, Brahmaji was astonished, and he became little relieved of all his suffering. In the meantime, suddenly there appeared a great form of the Lord called Hayagriva. Lord Hayagriva appeared there with his mighty features in the form of a horse. And he told Lord Brahma, "My dear Brahma, do not worry. That Meenavatara, my own form in the Matsya form I gave you, so less from all your suffering. I indeed will go and get back what you lost." Saying like this, Hayagriva, in the form of the horse, Hayagriva went down into the regions of the Garbha ocean. There he found the mighty Madhu Kaitabh, and he fought with them ferociously and destroyed them, and he brought back all the lost Vedic knowledge of Lord Brahma and came back and kindly gave to Lord Brahma. Brahmaji was relieved, and he was so happy that Madhu and Kaitabh were destroyed. But then at the same time, Lord Brahma was thinking that why did I lost all the Vedic literature? Even though I got the Madhu Kaitabhas were killed, but still I am not able to understand the Vedas. So while thinking like this, there immediately appeared Lord in the back of Garuda, and Lord came and told Brahma what is the reason why he lost all the Vedic knowledge. That time, the Lord told Brahma, "My dear Brahma, you should understand the process of receiving knowledge. I gave you the mantra Harihi Om to chant, and just by your tapasya and your endeavor, you received the Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge, you got it on your own by chanting this mantra. But it is said, unless you receive the Vedas from a spiritual master, the knowledge one may receive doesn't stay for a long time. It will disappear. That's the reason that you receive these Vedas from your own endeavor and tapasya. That's why you lost all the Vedas. Now, because of this reason, Madhu Kaitabha have taken your uh, all the Vedic knowledge back. Now, I will again repeat, personally instruct you all the Vedic mantras. Then you won't be forgetting these things, and you will be situated on your platform of knowledge. Then Lord said, my dear Brahma, you should understand that all the four Vedas are emanating from me. Four Vedas and Vedangas, Smriti Shastras, Puranas, everything is emanating from me. So I will teach you the Vedas, Puranas, Itihasas, Vedangas, Jyotish, everything I will teach you. And then you will be equipped with all this knowledge. You can perform a great service for the welfare of all living entities and for the pleasure of mine. So in this way, Brahmaji was personally given all the knowledge by the Supreme Lord himself. So when Brahmaji received personally from the Lord, then he did not forget, neither the demons stole the knowledge from him. So in this way, the beginning of the creation itself, Supreme Lord have instructed or taught through Brahma to all of us that one cannot receive knowledge on their own just by their mere austerities, by the power of their mere austerities and other things. One has to humbly inquire and receive knowledge from the spiritual master. Then only the knowledge may stay. Sometimes people may receive knowledge nowadays through books, reading books and other things. But if they don't have a respect and service to the giver of knowledge, then it may that they may have acquired the knowledge, but it doesn't sustain for long time. They may even forget. In fact, when Krishna learned from Sandipani Muni, the spiritual master being pleased with Krishna, he said, my dear Krishna, whatever you learned from me will remain in your mind fresh for all the time. So it is the blessings of the spiritual master, the blessing of the Vidya Guru is main thing by which we can sustain and remember and keep the knowledge which we receive from the spiritual master fresh in our life. Otherwise, it becomes like a passage of information without digesting the meaning, and it doesn't stay for a long time. This way, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu told Lord Brahma the process of receiving knowledge. So saying like this, Brahmaji became very happy and he got all the knowledge. Then he started analyzing all the Vedic mantras, and he was studying, he was contemplating carefully what is the purport of all the Vedas and mantras. Then he understood that I created all these human beings, demigods, demons, animals, all different kind of planets, and understanding from the Vedic literatures which I received that all the living entities whom I created, they have their beginning and their end. And Brahma is even shocked to understand that he himself is not an eternal person. He has to leave his body once upon a time. So seeing the temporary nature, the transitory nature of his own creation, and about himself is also seeing his own transitory nature, he understood that I need to find out what I should do to get eternal life, and who is the person who is not subject to the temporariness of the material world which I created. Then he understood that person I should find out. So then Brahmaji, what he did immediately, he came from his lotus and he directly went to the milk ocean and he started praying to Lord Vishnu and he started performing tapasya. At that time, when he performed austerities, chanting Hari Om, there appeared the great form of the Supreme Lord called Kurma. Kurmadev appeared in front of him, and being in the water, Kurmadev spoke to Lord Brahma. Oh, my dear Brahma, I am pleased with your tapasya. What do you want? I want to offer you some benediction. That time Brahmaji spoke, my dear Lord, I have seen you in the beginning as a Hamsa and the form of a swan, and I saw you At the beginning, like a in the form of a Meena. Then I saw you in the back of Garuda. Then I saw you in the form of Meena, the form of a fish. And I saw you in the form of Hayagriva, incarnation in the form of a horse. Now I see in the form of Kurma. So in this way, I've seen you all your forms, but I want to see your original form, which are described in the Vedas, which you yourself have instructed me. Please, my dear Lord, please give me the process. Be merciful on me. How can I see your original, supreme, transcendental form described in the Veda? And Kurmadev heard the sincere request of Brahma, his eagerness to see his original form. Kurmadev replied, my dear Brahma, see, what you asked me is something very, very valuable and very great. It is not easy to see my original form. Even great personalities who underwent a lot of austerities, they are not able to see my original form. The Vedas are even searching for my understanding my full original form and qualities and my nature. Still, they were not able to find the limit of my transcendental qualities. So, you want to understand the original form. It is not so easy. But still, since you have desire, you have got eagerness. The goal of the existence of any living entity is to understand the source of all of us. The source of all of us is the Supreme Lord Hari. Since we have a desire to understand my supreme nature, my original form, I'll give you the methodology by which you can see my original form. There from the ocean, Kurmadev revealed a great Maha Mantra to Lord Brahma. So the Purana says this Maha Mantra, which are 8 letters and syllables, if anybody chant this Ashtakshari or 8-syllable mantra, they'll get all the benefit, from material benefit to the highest benefit of seeing the form of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, the original form. So Brahmaji was so eager to hear the mantra from the Lord Kurmadev himself. Then the Kurmadev pronounced the mantra with so much love and affection. In fact, Kurmadev said, my dear Brahma, see, my nature is that has so much affection towards all my living entities. In fact, you, my dear Brahma, and all of the living entities are like my children. That's why we take a lot of endeavor and a lot of effort to protect all our children. I came in the beginning in the form of Hamsa. The bird protects or takes care of their children just by touching them. And then appeared as in the form of Kurma, Meena, and Hayagriva. The fish, in fact, it takes care of its child. It nourishes its child just by looking at the little fish. Similarly, I also, just by looking at the living entities, I nourish them and I protect them. Just like the tortoise, it doesn't even look at its offspring, it doesn't even touches its offspring like the birds, but just by thinking about its offspring, the kurma could be, the tortoise could be in the ocean, and its offspring, the egg, could be somewhere in the shore. Just by thinking about the offspring, the tortoise nourishes its child. Similarly, I always think about the welfare of others, like a kurma, and just by my glance, I nourish the living entities. And just like the bird, by touching the living entities, I nourish them. I came in the form of a Hayagriva, the horse avatara. Just like the horse carries the burden of the living entities. Sometimes it carries the living entities themselves. Human beings sit on the horse, everybody sits on the horse. Similarly, I carry the burden of everybody's difficulties. I carry them so that they will be relieved of all their suffering. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam. I protect what they have and I sustain what I give what they want, and I also protect what they have. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam. Vahana means carrying them. I carry all the living entities on my back, from material world to the spiritual world. That's why I appeared in the form of a Hayagriva. So definitely on this, all this incarnation appeared in order to give give you relief from all your sufferings and give you happiness. Now you decide to see my original form. So there, for that, Lord Brahma, dear Brahma, you have to perform something more serious endeavor. When you seriously endeavor to get the great thing, you'll be able to appreciate it better. So Brahmaji said, my dear Lord, what should I do for seeing the original form? There, Kurmadev told that I will give you this mantra, Ashtakshari mantra, which is called Om Namo Narayanaya. This Ashtakshari mantra, if you chant sincerely and with love and affection and so much of devotion, attitude towards me, then this mantra will help you to see my original form. From this holy name, from this spiritual sound, syllable, you will be able to understand the form of me will be revealed, and you will be able to understand my great qualities. You'll be able to understand my pastime. So first you begin with chanting of this Maha Mantra called the Ashtakshari 8-syllable mantra. Om Namo Narayanaya. So this is described in the Puranas as the Maha Mantra, which Brahmaji received in the beginning of the creation. And Brahmaji, being received this mantra, is sincerely and with a lot of eagerness started chanting this mantra for a long time in the banks of the milk ocean. So when he chanted in the banks of the milk ocean, after a long time, suddenly there appeared a great effulgence from the milk ocean. From the milk ocean, suddenly appeared a bubble-like structure, and piercing the bubble of the milk ocean water, the milk, there appeared a effulgent Vimana, which were like a equivalent to the 1,000 sun effulgence. That Vimana is called Pranavakara Vimana. This particular Vimana appeared from the milk ocean, and when Brahmaji saw this, he was trying to visualize the milk ocean. This Pranavakara Vimana. It has 4 kalashas and shaped in the syllable called Om. And Brahmaji was so much amazed to see this. There he saw that the milk ocean is slowly emerging from the middle of the milk ocean, and then he saw this Vimana is being carried by Lord Garuda on his back, and slowly and nicely the Ranga Vimana, this Pranavakara Vimana, came towards Lord Brahmaji, and Garudaji gave the Ranga Vimana, the Pranavakara Vimana, in the hands of Brahma. Even before he received from his hand, in the hand of Brahma, Brahmaji saw from distance how this Vimana is looking and what is there inside the canopy or Vimana. There he saw that effulgent Vimana has one entrance inside it. Inside that he saw the beautiful Lord, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of Lord Brahma, the father of Lord Brahma, lying on the snake bed Ananta Shesha. And Lord Brahma, when saw this, he was completely taken by great ecstasy, and he was so much of in bliss, and he started seeing the description beauty of this Ranga Vimana and the Lord. Brahmaji took darshan of the Lord, and he saw that just like that of a dark cloud, the Lord's form are like a dark cloud, and he just like the dark cloud is basically a water which has come from the ocean. Similarly, the sun evaporates the water from the ocean, and the same sun makes it into cloud, and the cloud again pours water back, and the water comes down on top of the mountain, takes the form of the river, and again enters into the ocean. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is like an ocean. Supreme Lord is like an ocean, and the sun, which are like the Vedic literatures, they take the description of Supreme Lord from the milk from the ocean, and they became like a cloud, and again they describe the transcendental form of the Supreme Lord, and those descriptions have shelter, and they guide us towards the Supreme Lord himself. So in this way, Brahmaji saw the Supreme Lord, whose form was like a dark cloud, and his eyes are like that of a lotus flower, which are extended till his ears, and his eyeballs are like a bumblebees inside that lotus flower, and his lips are like like a bimba fruits, reddish in like a bimba fruits, and his nose are like a sesame seed flower, and his neck are like a like that of a conch shell which has three lines in it. A so beautiful neck, like conch shell, and his chest, where Brahmaji saw there was a beautiful line which is the residence of goddess Lakshmi, and his chest were broad, and his navel are so deep, and he was holding in his hand, he was stretching his hand towards his knees, and there he saw the hands are so long and stretching till his knees like a beautiful snake, and he saw the hips of the Lord, and he was so mesmerized by seeing the hips of the Lord, and he saw the thighs of the Lord like that of a beautiful banana trunk, and his calves are like that of a sugarcane trunk, and his lotus feet are just like reddish color reddish color like lotus, and his nails are like a moon, effulgent moon, so bright in nature. In this way, from toe to head, Brahmaji just saw the beauty of the Supreme Lord. And Lord did not come alone. He was lying on the snake bed. And around the Supreme Lord, there was also so many other great personalities such as Garuda, Nanda, Sunanda, Kumuda, all the associates of the Supreme Lord, the demigods of the spiritual world. They were all offering chamaras to the Lord. And Visvakshena, the great personality of who actually is a in charge of the spiritual world called Visvaksena, was holding a scepter of the Supreme Lord behind the Lord. And he saw all the associates of the Supreme Lord. He saw the Durga and Ganapati, they were all there. They all may sounds like the demigods of this material world, but they are the eternal associates of the Supreme Lord, having rather these demigods are having the similar name of them. So these personalities, they were appeared there, they were together in the whole in the beautiful Ranga Vimana. And Brahmaji received his Ranga Vimana, and happily he took the Ranga Vimana in his hand, and he took them to his planet called Satyaloka. The Satyaloka is the topmost planet which has a boundary called Viraja River. And other side of the Viraja River is the spiritual world. So Brahmaji was also supplied by the Supreme Lord all the necessary ingredients to build a beautiful temple for him. So Brahmaji make the Supreme Lord to be worshipped so nicely. He made arrangements in the banks of the Viraja River, and he was worshipping the Supreme Lord there. At that time, Brahmaji, with happily, he offered a lot of prayers to Lord Vishnu. She said, "My dear Lord, I am an ordinary person. Just by hearing my prayers and seeing my chanting of the Ashtakshari mantra, you appeared to me. I am so grateful to you." At that time, Lord Vishnu, Ranganath, Narayana, spoke to Lord Brahma. Then, my dear Brahma, indeed, we are pleased with you, and you please understand that our incarnation in the form of this deity is something unique. We have decided that the living entities, they cannot able to understand or see us with their material vision. So we have decided ourselves to appear in the form of the Archamurti. There the Lord explains the five different futures of him. Para, Vyuha, Vibhava, Antaryami, Archa. The Para form is the Supreme Lord's presence in the Vaikuntha Dham. Vyuha is the form he exhibits in the milk ocean, Shirodaka Shayi ocean. There he expands as Shankarshana, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Vasudeva. These are called Vyuha form. And the same Lord appears as Vibhava avatars. He appeared as Rama, he appeared as Varaha Vamana. In this way, he takes a lot of avatars. So when he appeared as Krishna, Rama, Varaha avatars, There his feature is called Vibhava Avataras. Same Lord also appears as Antaryami. He appears in the heart of every living entity in the form of Antaryami. But Vishnu said that all these forms, Paravyuha Vibhava Antaryami, they are very difficult to approach. Para form is in the milk, is in the spiritual world, we don't have access. Vyuha form is also, we don't have access in the milk ocean. When Brahmaji don't have access to that, he can only hear the sound from the milk ocean. And the Vibhava forms appears only during a particular time. Even when he appears also, not everybody takes benefit of him. Persons like Hamsa, Vishupala, they could not understand Hiranyakashipu. They don't understand the value of lords coming down in the form of the Vibhava form. Few people actually understood the glories of the Lord and took the opportunity uh, to surrender into the Supreme Lord, such as Sudama and others. So that is also very difficult. One has to be at that particular time. What about Antaryami? Antaryami, the Supreme Lord Paramatma, is right in our heart, but we don't have any access. We don't have a, even though he is there right in front of our heart, just like our eye, the closest thing to our eye is our own eyelids. But can we see our eyelid with our own eyes? We cannot see. Eyelid is there, but we can't see. Similarly, the Lord is present in our heart as a Paramatma, just right in our heart, but we are not able to see the Paramatma in the heart. So the scriptures explain that in Kali Yuga we are all like people who are sitting in the desert. There is no water at all. If somebody wants water, they cannot say that I'll get the water from the milk ocean. It is so far. Somebody else says no, you can get the water from the spiritual world. The cloud water. You can get the cloud water. Cloud, how can I go to the cloud and take? Only if it rains I can take. The cloud also is not accessible unless it pours itself. Somebody says you can go to the river and drink. Oh, I am in the desert, how can I go to the river and drink water? I want water right away. So the para form is like a ocean of the cloud water. You can't get that water. The Vyuha forms are like the cloud water. We don't have access to the cloud. The cloud has to come down. So the Lord comes down as Vibhava. The Vibhava avatars are called as the river water. River may be there, but I am in this Kali Yuga. The avatars have gone, went and came and gone. I don't have any access to the river also, the Vibhava avatars. How can I take water? I'm suffering. I mean, I'm thirsty. I'm there right in the desert of this Kali Yuga. So there, Lord, somebody says that no problem. You are in the desert. The sand is down. Keep on digging the sand. Very soon you'll get the water from the earth. He said that I am already tired and I'm in the desert. I have not taken water for a long time. I'm so thirsty. Here, the thirst means that the relief from all our material pangs. So this person is suffering, and he says that if I keep on digging, how long I can dig, and I may die even before I reach the water. So there is no guarantee. How can you can dig the sand for a long time? Not possible. So finally somebody says that no problem, don't worry. Just come with me. I'll take you myself in my own vehicle. And very nearby here is a great oasis. Beautiful pond is there in the desert. There you can drink as much as you want. There he become relieved. There he went there and he saw the pond filled with sweet and cool water, and he quenched his thirst in that water. Similarly, that water, the pond water, the lake water is considered as the Archavata. Paravyuha Vibhava Antaryami Archa. Para is like the water in the cloud. Vyuha is like the water in the uh, milk ocean, and Vibhava is our water in the river. And the Vyuha and the Antaryami is the water, the spring, the Bhogata Jala, the spring water. We don't have any access to that. Finally, which is water we can get access is that in the desert, the pond water. That is considered as the Archavatara. So Supreme Lord said that in order to relieve the people's pangs in this age of Kali, I appeared in my Archavatara, in the form of the deity, that one can access me in whichever place, whichever situation they are in. So that's the reason, my dear Brahma appeared in this Murti form, Archavatara. If for your great content and desire, you worship me. There, Lord Vishnu, in the deity form, also taught Lord Brahma how to worship him. He taught the Agamas called Pancharatra and other worshipping methods, and he told how you should worship me. Every detail Lord Narayana spoke to Lord Brahma. Brahmaji, with so much happiness, he received this instruction from the Lord, and he took the deity in his hand and he paid again and again obeisances to him, and he was started worshipping the Lord for all the day in different times. He was worshipping, and while doing like this, Brahmaji was not just satisfied by he worshipping the Lord himself. The great desire that all his associates, his Manasa Putra, such as Prajapati and his sons, everybody should worship. So he taught Prajapati and others also worshipping the Supreme Lord. They also worship, and Vivaswan, the sun god, is also worshipping the Supreme Lord Ranganatha. In this way, Brahmaji was worshipping the Supreme Lord. And while doing this, Brahmaji was thinking that after a lot of desire and a lot of difficulties, I got the Supreme Lord, and my life is so perfect in worshipping the Supreme Lord. At that time, Brahmaji saw that he was a little bit of concerned that how should I keep on continuing this worship without any difficulties? If any difficulty comes, if Lord takes leave from me, I have no other shelter to go. He was also having a fear in his heart. At that time, when Vivaswan, the sun god, who is a descendant of Lord Brahma, when he was worshipping the Supreme Lord, he was in his heart, he was very much having great desire that he should teach the worship of the Supreme Lord Narayana, who is sitting on the Pranavakar Viman, to his own son Manu. So Vivaswan Manave Praha. So there was one son god called Manu, who is the father of all the human beings, and he taught him also how to worship Ranganath. So in this way, it was a great happiness in Brahmaloka. Ranganath appeared there, and when Ranganath appeared there, uh, actually his name is not Ranganath at that time. His name should be Narayana, because Ranganath name he gets only when he comes to Srirangam Dham. So when Lord Narayana was worshipped by Lord Brahma in this way, and Manu is also worshipping, now when then everybody is together, they are worshipping the Supreme Lord. From the Manu's dynasty, so many kings have appeared. There was such a king called Ikshvaku. Ikshvaku appeared in the dynasty of Vivaswan, Sun dynasty. There he was worshipping the Supreme Lord in a place called Ayodhya. He was a king of Ayodhya in the earth. And when he heard that my ancestors, my father, all of them, and my grandfather, they are all worshipping the Supreme Lord in Satyaloka, he also decided to reach Satyaloka and worship the Lord. So in this way, once Ikshvaku Maharaj went by his austerities and power, he went to Satyaloka by the grace of Vivaswan, and Brahmaji's mercy, he got there. And there he saw and worshipped Lord Narayana in the Pranavakar Viman. After worshipping for some time, he came down and he started meditating and thinking that, you see, I am worshipping the Supreme Lord Narayana in Satyaloka. But I got a great desire that I have the power and capacity to do interplanetary travel and reach Satyaloka to worship the Supreme Lord Narayana in the Pranavakar Viman. But my descendants later, they won't be able to do this great feat of doing interplanetary travel. They won't be able to go beyond certain limits of this material cover in this Satyaloka is there on topmost planet. So how they will be able to get the mercy of the Pranavakar Viman and Narayana, who is worshipped by Lord Brahma? So Ikshvaku thought for some time and he decided, let me follow the same footsteps of my ancestors and my predecessors. So he decided how Brahmaji got this Pranavakara Vimana by performing austerities, tapasya, by chanting the Maha Mantra Om Namo Narayanaya, and then he received this great Pranavakara Viman from the milk ocean. Let me also follow the same methodology. So Ikshvaku Maharaj, what he did, he went to a particular forest and he sat in meditation and tapas. Ikshvaku Maharaj is performing such a severe austerities. In the middle of the summer, all around him, he lighted great fire, Panchagni, From the four direction, there were fire. South, north, west, east, he lit fire and he was sitting so close to those fires around, all around. And from the above, the scorching sun is acting as a fire in the summer season. This way, he was doing Panchagni tapasya. And in the winter season, he would stand till his neck in the deep water. Neck deep water, he would sit and stand, and he was performing tapasya. In this way, by performing all these great austerities, he was meditating and praying that somehow or other he should get the Pranavakara Vimana and Narayana staying the Pranavakara Vimana to Ayodhya. So this Ikshvaku Maharaj is not performing this tapasya just for his own sense gratification or for his own benefit. Actually, he was so compassionate that he wanted to. As a king means he has to be compassionate towards all the living entities. So Ikshvaku thought that if the Lord comes down, all my descendants will be benefited, all the prajas, the earthly planet will also get benefited. In this way, he was paropakari. For that, he was performing great austerities. In the meantime, when anybody gets this austerity, who is the person feels insecurity? You all know it is none other than Indra. When he saw Ikshvaku Maharaj is performing this great austerity, he understood something is going on and he became insecure. Why? That by tapas and austerities one can achieve the post of Indra. So Indra thought that my position will be finished if Ikshvaku performs great tapasya. So immediately Indra thought that I need to do something. So what he did as usual things. He called the Cupid, Kamadev, called the Cupid and told him that now it's the time for you. Go down, and this Ikshvaku is performing great austerities and destroy his austerities by alluring him with all your powers. So Cupid said, no problem, I have no difficulties, I have done many times before. So Cupid and his wife Rati, they came together and they took the chariot, which is nothing than the spring chariot. The spring is become a chariot, and Kamadev took his bow which is made of sugarcane bow, and his assistants were all the apsaras and all the damsels. They were all went together in the red chariot, and they went towards the place where Ikshvaku Maharaj is. Excuse me. Ikshvaku Maharaj was performing his austerities. So when they went there they saw that Ikshvaku Maharaj's determination and tapasya were very, very severe. So they were waiting for an appropriate time to seduce or allure Ikshvaku Maharaj. So at that appropriate time, when Cupid signaled the spring season appeared from nowhere. All around Ikshvaku Maharaj was beautiful trees with blooming beautiful plants and water body with blooming flowers and trees and beautiful fruits. They all appeared there. At that time, the damsels of Indra, the Apsaras, they were all performing beautiful dancing, accompanied with the singing and the instruments played by other Apsaras. And they were dancing and jiggling and they are singing and they're playing with their balls. Sometimes they are exchanging with each other, joking words, and somehow they're trying to distract the tapasya of Ikshvaku Maharaj. And one point of time, Kamadev sent the spring breeze which were flowing through the bodies of the Apsaras who were scented and perfumed by various fragrance articles, and the spring air flowed through their body and entered into the nostrils of Ikshvaku. Still, he was not at all disturbed. He was continuing his tapasya. At one point of time, these apsaras were kind of become very much upset that they were not able to do anything. So still, they were continuing with all their different activities. At one point of time, Ikshvaku opened his eyes, and as soon as he opened his eyes, all the apsaras and other damsels, they become so enthusiastic and they started performing their activities even more a more interesting way is to allure the heart of Ikshvaku. That time Cupid shot the arrow from his bowstring of is made up of bow made up of sugarcane. And when the arrows entered the heart of Ikshvaku, and Ikshvaku opened his eyes, saw in front of him all the great apsaras such as Menaka, Tilotama, Aramba, and all others. And when he opened his eyes, the apsaras were standing in front of him in their beautiful, enticing, charming form. Ikshvaku Maharaj opened his eyes and he said the first word, I am so fortunate to receive all you guests. It is said in the Shastras that anybody visits your place, the Atithi are compared to none other than Supreme Lord Narayana himself. That since you all come here as Atithis, this is my duty to give you all the facilities and respect. So that time, Ishwa Kumaraj took a straw mat and he offered as asana for all the apsaras. And he also brought Achaman water and started giving all respects to them. And the apsaras were thinking that, we thought that he opened his eyes. And after anybody who performed tapasya, when they hear our jiggling words and all our enchanting form, and they see the enchanting form, and they open their eye, they do something else. But here Ikshvaku Maharaj is standing up and welcoming them and giving them asana and talking all dharma. So they all got perturbed and they understood that this person is something different. And when Ikshvaku Maharaj politely spoke to them and with his respective words, they become very shy and they put their head down and they started talking to themselves. One Apsara told another Apsara, my dear friends, that this person is not something which we used to see in these kinds of uh, our activity. Is this person is something different. So if we continue doing something more to disturb him, we may be in great danger. He may even burn us with the power of tapasya. So better that we should not do anything further and we should act intelligently. So now all the apsaras came and they paid obeisances to Ikshvaku and blessed him that may your activity, we don't know for what reason you are performing tapasya, let that become successful and we are offering all our great wishes to you. Saying like this with their head down, they came back to Cupid and told them all the thing, and the Cupid along with the Apsaras such as Tilottamarati and others, Ramba, they all went back to Indra and told them that this is what happened, that we could not do anything to disturb Maharaj Ikshvaku. Here, this lesson is understood that when the distraction comes in the path of our spiritual evolution, the sadhaka, how he should take these obstacles. That if he become averse to such kind of illusory potency, then he may end up in falling victim to them. Just like uh, Lord Shiva, he become angry with the Cupid when he came to entice him. So in the angry mood, Lord Shiva practically destroyed him and burned to ashes the Cupid. But by doing so, he actually understood. He realized that he made a mistake. That by destroying something, that you maybe get relieved of the distraction, but you also lose a lot of your own powers. When Menaka came to disturb Vishwamitra, Vishwamitra became enticed by her and he fell victim to Menaka. So attachment and aversion doesn't lead to ultimate good for us. What leads to ultimate good for us is that proper dealing with the distraction. So here Ikshvaku Maharaj dealt with the distraction properly, neither by becoming angry at the distraction nor by taking the distraction, taking the falling victim to the distraction. He respectfully, with humbly, with his heart, he respected them, he acknowledged them, and he actually he poured his affection towards the object of distraction. So this is a great example of great souls. how they deal with the potency, Maya potency. So if the sadhaka has expertise to deal with the Maya in this way, that he should do. Otherwise, the neophyte sadhakas, they may just neglect the Maya, neither becoming averse to that, angry with that, or becoming attached to that. One should neglect. But those who are higher advanced, they can actually deal with the Maya in a positive sense. So those kinds of personalities are great, and one may not imitate, but one can take the lessons that everybody, even the Maya, is nothing but Krishna's own energy, and it can be respected. And by giving proper respect, seeing the connection of Maya with the Supreme Lord Krishna, one can actually get the blessings of Maya. Durga Devi, on one hand, she has the Trishula, on another hand, she has the Pasha, this rope. But when she is bounding us with her rope, when we are attached to, when we are uh, determined in our path towards worship, towards devotional service to Supreme Lord Krishna, then what she does with the same Trishula, she cuts up the ropes and she delivers us from her the pasha, the rope. Similarly, when we see the Maya's connection with Krishna, then we will actually speaking, we will be relieved from the clutches of Maya. So in this way, Ikshvaku Maharaj, with his own determination and his attachment to Krishna, seeing Maya not as separate from Krishna, but he saw Maya as the energy subservient of Supreme Lord Krishna. In this way, he tactfully uh, came out of a distraction. As soon as his apsaras and Cupid went, he continued performing his great austerities. For what reason? To receive the Vimana from Pranavakara Vimana from Lord Brahma. So then Indra heard the report from their associates. Indra becomes so angry and upset. What? That this fellow is still continuing his tapasya? Let me go myself. So Indra sat on his Airavata carrier and sat in Airavata, and he took his very famous weapon called Vajra. With Vajrayuda, he went directly to Ikshvakumar's place, and there he did not do anything else. He whirled against Ikshvaku his Vajrayuda weapon. Vajrayuda, uh, fuming with all its power, directly went, and it was about to attack Ikshvaku. That time Ikshvaku Maharaj understood that something is happening towards him. He opened his eyes, saw the great Vajrayuda is directed towards him. It is coming with great force. Ikshvaku did not do anything. He just folded his hand and he just remembered the Supreme Lord Narayana. At that time, it was so, just by his determination, he was not at all fearful. Because of his taking shelter of Narayana, there appeared the weapon of Supreme Lord Narayan himself, the Sudarshana Chakra appeared there. And Sudarshana Chakra appeared, Vajrayuda cannot do anything. Vajra is like a small mosquito in front of a great Garuda of Sudarshan Chakra. What a fly can do in front of Garuda. So the Sudarshan Chakra drew the Vajrayuda, and the Vajrayuda started running away from the Sudarshan Chakra. Indra becomes so afraid that Sudarshan is coming towards him. So he started running to various places. Finally, he reached the abode of Brahma. My dear Lord, please protect me. I did something, and now the Sudarshan Chakra is coming to burn me. And he paid his obeisances again and again to Brahma and prayed for his protection. Brahma thought, and he prayed to Lord Vishnu for the peace between the Sudarshan Chakra and Indra. And by the prayers of Lord Brahma, the Sudarshan Chakra, by the order of Lord Narayan, it retreated, and Indra got his life back. At that time, Brahmaji asked, "What happened? Why you have come to such a precarious situation that you become the object of Lord's anger, that Sudarshan Chakra came to kill you?" Then Indra spoke all the things that, see, Ikshvaku is performing austerities. I am feeling that my place is in danger. Then Brahmaji laughed and said that every time you think that anybody performs tapasya, you are in danger. So then Brahmaji said that, let me know why Ikshvak is performing tapasya. He closed all his 8 eyes and he sat in meditation. and went inside the mind of Ikshvaku and saw in his trance that Ikshvaku Maharaj is performing tapasya not for Indra's post, but is performing tapasya for attaining the worshipable Lord of Brahma himself. Brahmaji become perturbed. And I thought that Indra is in trouble, but now I understood that I am in trouble. The Ikshvaku is performing tapasya not to get Indra's post, but my life is in danger because my life and my great Supreme Lord Vishnu is going to take away from me. So I am in danger, not Indra is in danger. So Indra, Brahmaji became very perturbed and told Indra, you go back, there is no problem for you, problem is for me only, I will handle the situation. So then Brahma immediately goes back to his temple, his deity room, and he paid full obeisances, catching hold of Lord Narayana inside the Pranavaka Viman. My dear Lord, you promised me that you will stay with me for all the time, and I supposed to worship you. You taught me the process of your worship, how to worship you, and all. Now this Ikshvak is performing tapasya. Will you leave me? I hope you don't leave me. In this way, he was with tears in hand. He was catching hold of Lord Vishnu's two lotus feet, the deity of Lord Narayan and the Pranavaka Viman. And for further agony of Lord Brahma, Narayan opened his eyes and spoke to Brahma and said, my dear Brahma, indeed, we are going to oblige to Ikshvaku's tapasya and we are really going down to his place. So Brahmaji was very much upset and again and again paid obeisance and started crying, my dear Lord, how can I stay without you? You leave, what will happen to me? In this way, Brahmaji started crying like a baby in front of Lord. Lord told, Brahma, do not worry that I'll be gone. At the same time, I'll be here to take all your worship. Now, Brahmaji said that these kind of puzzles I won't be able to understand with all my four heads. You will be here and gone to uh, place of Ikshvaku. How can I understand both things? So that time Lord said, and Brahma, let me teach you a little mathematics. The time zone in your planet is something great. 1 minute in your place is compared to hundreds and thousands of years in the planet Earth. So I promised you that I will accept all the offerings, all the pujas you do to me. So what I will do after performing your puja, your morning puja, I will leave to Ikshvaku's place, Ayodhya, the Bhuloka. I will stay there for 7 manvantaras, and these 7 manvantaras are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, millions of years in the earthly calculation. And by the time you have to perform a next offering, next puja, I'll come back to you and receive your puja. And again, I'll go back down. In this way, as I promised you, I'll accept all your offerings. At the same time, I will fulfill the desire of Ikshvaku. And this was spoken when Brahmaji got relieved. As long as you won't leave me, I will accept your desire is my desire. Your happiness is my happiness, my dear Lord. Even if you desire to go and give your mercy to Ikshvaku, I should be happy that others are getting your mercy. I shouldn't be selfish myself that I should only worship you. Let Ikshvaku also worship you. But since you are saying that you will also come back without fail, take my worship. Let this happen, my dear Lord, if you so desire. Saying like this, Brahmaji personally went to Ikshvaku and sprinkled water on him. And when Ikshvaku opened his eyes, in front of him he saw Brahma with the Pranavakara Viman. And Brahmaji personally offered to Ikshvaku Maharaj this Pranavakara Viman. Ikshvaku becomes so happy that he got his object of affection and love, and he got his object of his great desire, and the Pranavakara Viman. So he brought this Pranavakara Viman and he came to his capital called Ayodhya, and he installed the great Pranavakar Viman on the southern bank of Sarayu River. And not only Brahmaji gave just the deity, he also gave the great sculptures, he also gave all the great experts who can make temple for him. So Ikshvaku made a great temple and he arranged for a great worship by all the Brahmanas and Panditas. and he arranged for the great worship of Lord Narayana on the banks of Sarayu in Ayodhya. This way, what we saw is that Lord Narayana appeared from the milk ocean, came to Lord Brahmaji in Satyaloka. From Satyaloka is being worshipped, in Satyaloka being worshipped by great stalwart devotees like Prajapati and all other sons of Brahmaji, including others such as Vivaswan, Manu. Finally, Lord came to Ayodhya Dham. In Ayodhya, there the Lord is being worshipped by great King Ikshvaku and their descendant Ikshvaku, Mandhata, Dilipa, and so many other great kings, Raghu. They're all in Parampara worshipped the Supreme Lord in the banks of river Sarayu. And in Ayodhya, this deity became the great treasure in their family. In fact, this deity of Ranganatha, who has been called so now, is the family deity of the Sun dynasty king beginning from Ikshvaku Maharaj. For thousands and thousands and thousands of years, this deity is being worshipped in the palace of great king of Ayodhya. In that dynasty appeared the great king, famous king called Dasharatha Maharaja. So Dasharatha Maharaj appeared there and he himself worshipped the Supreme Lord Ranganatha, Supreme Lord Narayana, banks of Sarayu River. And for many years, this Dasharatha Maharaj did not have any child. So, as we see in the Ramayana, Dasharatha Maharaj there he performed a great sacrifice called Putra Kameshti Yaga to please this Lord of Pranavakara Vimana, and being pleased by his great sacrifice done by Dasharatha Maharaja, by the mercy of the Lord, he got Supreme Lord himself, Lord Ram, as a son of, as his own son. And not only got Supreme Lord as his own son, he also got the expansions of the Supreme Lord as other sons, Bharat, Shatrugna, and Lakshmana. So in this way, by the mercy of Lord Ranganatha, mercy of the Lord in Pranavakara Vimana, that all the living entities, all the uh, uh, devotees in the planet Earth got the mercy of Lord Ram. So if we are reading Ramayana today, if you are hearing about Lord Ram today, it is the mercy of none other than Sriranganatha Swami. Mercy of it is mercy of Supreme Lord Narayan and the Pranavakar Viman. So that's why Dasharath Maharaj got all their children. So now, being the next king, the son of Dasharath Maharaj, Lord Ram himself is worshipping the deity of Narayana, who will be called later as Ranganatha. When Lord Ram was worshipping, it was a unique exchange of rasa. That Ram is worshipping his own form of Ranganatha, his own form of Narayana. So that was the time. Therefore, that Narayana, Lord Narayan is waiting for such a long time when he will receive worship by himself. So the Ramayana, it is said, Sahalakshmiya Vishalakshya Narayana Upagamate. Sahalakshmiya Vishalakshya. Vishalakshi means it's the name for Mother Sita. So with Sita, Lord Ram, Sahalakshmiya Vishalakshya Narayana Upagamate. He was worshipping Lord Narayana. It is said that Ram was worshipping Lord Narayana in a very systematic and punctual and very in a very devotional mood, that he was very strict in worshipping the Supreme Lord. And Lakshmi, who is Sita Devi now, she is assisting very carefully Lord Ram in worshipping their family deity Narayana. In this way, after thousands and millions of years later, Supreme Lord himself is worshipping his own form in the as Narayana of the Pranavakara Vimana. So when this worship was going on, and Ram was so happy, Sita was so happy that they were worshipping their family treasure of this Narayana present in the Pranamakara Viman. One fine day, Dasharath Maharaj came to Lord Ram and he saw the character and beauty and, and the qualities of his son. And he thought that maybe I should, this is a time right now, I should declare Ram as the Yuvaraj. He should become the next king. Before that, before telling Lord Ram, he went and asked opinion of the Prajas and other ministers. All the ministers said that this is a great decision, the best decision you have taken in your life, that Ram should be coronated as a king. And Dasharath Maharaj is such a king that he always want to do things which will be pleasing to the citizens. He wanted to ask the citizens that what is their opinion. They called all the citizens and announced them that what you all think that if Ram becomes the next king of Ayodhya after me. So all the citizens at one point, one word and one uh, voice, they all spoke that Dasharath Maharaj, you are so happy that these words have come from you. We have been hankering and waiting for this particular time, that immediately make Ram as the prince and he should become the king and make him as a king of Ayodhya. Dasharath Maharaj was thinking that all my citizens are, I thought that they may be thinking that, they may say that, my dear King Dasharath Maharaj, how can we leave you? You should be our king and you won't feel comfortable if you go away from here. He thought they will say like this, but immediately how they responded, that better, their, their inner meaning is that so long time you have been king, enough of you being king, you go and we are waiting for Lord Ram. So Dasharath Maharaj was happy that they have affection for his own son. At the same time, he was thinking that the citizens are waiting and they are more eager to get Ram as the king than me continue. So in this way, is it the greatness of uh, Ram or it is a fault of Dasharath Maharaj? So speaking like this, the Acharyas conclude that there is no fault in Dasharath Maharaj rule at all. Every citizens were liking him. Everybody was so happy and satisfied in his rule. But the only problem, the only mistake Dasharath Maharaj did was he got Ram as his own son. So the greatness and the magnanimity and the greatness of Lord Ram is so great that people wanted Ram to be king as early as possible. In this way, Dasharath Maharaj became happy that the citizens were very much attached to Lord Ram, his own son. Then he was very much relieved and he was happy. Immediately he went and took the decision that Ram will be the king. And he directly went to Ram, called Lord Ram, and said that we are going to coronate you as a king tomorrow. When Ram heard this news, he thought that we becoming king. He was not at all very much happy to hear this. So he spoke to Sita Devi that my father got this these kinds of idea that he wants to make me a king. So I don't want to do this. Let me just lead a happy life with Sita in the palace. Why should make me a king? So Ram was not at all happy. So whenever he has a problem, when Lord has a problem, where he go? He cannot go to any other living entity. Directly Lord went to the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord went to the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord Ram went to which Supreme Lord? His own deity. He went to the deity of Narayana, which will be called as Ranganatha Swami. And he told Ranganatha Swami that my father got this vague idea of making me king of Ayodhya. So please, my dear Lord Ranganatha, Narayana, you have to protect me from this great trouble of me becoming king. Ranganatha said that what is the problem? That you be a king and take the crown on your head and it will be great time that you can be the king of the entire planet. And what is difficult in accepting this? That time Ram said that my father wants to dump that great golden crown on my head. I don't want to take this. I don't want to become a king. So Lord said that, why you don't want to become a king? So Ram said that if the crown is dumped on my head and if I become king of Ayodhya, how will I be able to go to the forest? I'm supposed to go to forest. And I have to hunt the demons like Maritya, Shiva, and Ravana. So if this happens, how the hunting of the demons such as Ravana and and Shubhahu Maritya will take place. So Ranganath Swami said that, what can I do for that? This is your destiny, so accept it. And since you are the Supreme Lord, you can do whatever you want. So Ram said, I may be the Supreme Lord, but I have taken the form of a human. So I can't do anything. Only you have to do something by which I will be relieved from this great trouble of becoming the king of Ayodhya. If you don't do this, then my purpose of coming down here of killing Ravana and so on will be will be stayed for a long time. So please do something. So Ranganath Swami said that, see, I am a deity just lying down in one place. I can't do anything. You are moving here and there. So you only do everything. You have the power to do. Ram said, I don't have any power to do, only you have to do something. If you don't do it, then all my purpose of coming in this avatara will become ruined. So please do something. In this way, there's a great sweet exchange between the Lord and Lord Sri Ram, and Ranganatha Swami. So at that time, Ranganatha Swami said that, okay, since you are requesting again and again, I shall do something. Saying this, when Lord said, Ram said that, by the time, please understand that only few hours are remaining, because it is middle of the night now, and morning time, the great crown of Ayodhya will be dumped on my head. I will be announced the king of Ayodhya. Before that calamity takes place for Lord Ram, this is a calamity of becoming a king and controlling the planet and enjoying the kingdom. Lord Ram considered this as a calamity. What was desired by everybody, he considered as a calamity. So he spoke to Ranganatha Swami, before this calamity downs upon me, please do something to evade this problem. Everything is there in your hand. And Ram appealed to Ranganatha Swami's worshipful deity. Then Ranganath Swami said that, okay, since you're requesting, let me do something. Saying this, Ranganatha Swami, Lord Narayana, and did something. What he did and how things happens, we shall discuss in the next session. So the Ranganatha Mahatmya is in the Brahmanda Purana. Conversation between Lord Shiva and Narada continues in this way, and we will be discussing more further in the next session. And till then, I wish all good for the devotees, and let the meditation on the Dham in this great holy month will be pleasing to the Supreme Lord, and let all our spiritual desires be fulfilled by performing this particular devotion service. Srila Rupa Goswami says that one of the limbs of the five important limbs of the sadhana with bhakti is that visiting the holy dham, Shraddhaya Vigraha Seva and Dhamvas. So even though we are not, we may able to perform Nam Kirtan, Sadhu Sangha, Bhagavad Shravan in our own place, and Shraddhaya Vigraha Seva also. But Dham was the fifth one is something a bit difficult. We have to go to some other place, especially in such kind of situation. We're not able to personally go to a Dham, but just like the Dham is descending from the spiritual world to various places in the material world, similarly, the Dham can also descend through the process of sound vibration into our ears. So we can see great Dham such as Vrindavan, Mathura, and Srirangam Dham through our ears, through the process of hearing. So next session will continue further hearing about the greatness of Srirangam Dham. I thank you all the devotees for patiently listening to this narration, and I feel that I'm blessed by the devotees who have kindly, patiently listened to this discourse, even though it may have a lot of mistakes. I hope I'll be pardoned for any mistakes I committed. Hare Krishna. Srirangam Dham ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
RG Media YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe.